week, we witnessed one of the most incompetent and frankly inexcusable national security breaches this nation has ever seen. Now, people are calling it Signalgate, and it's this week's topic of Sarah Explains It All. On Monday, we found out that the upper echelon of our defense and national security apparatus were carrying out a conversation on an unsecured signal chain, real-time war planning information on that signal chat, and unbeknownst to them, a journalist was invited. And the whole thing included emojis. Everybody involved, including the White House, started then denying that this was in fact classified secure information. And then we found out on Wednesday, when the complete chats were published, after all, the White House said that they were not secure information, that everyone was lying. And let me be clear, as a member of the House Armed Services Committee, this is completely unacceptable. It is abundantly clear that the people entrusted to keep our military personnel and our most secure secrets safe failed at both, and then they lied about it. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth even said that no sources, methods, locations, or war plans were shared, when that clearly wasn't the case. Directors Tulsi Gabbard and John Ratcliffe went on to say to the Senate that they couldn't recall if any specific weapons systems or timing of the classified military operations were shared, when clearly that is not the case. And again, let me just show you these screenshots. 12:15, F-18's launch. This is really important because this is almost 2 hours before the strike, 2 hours that if this information had been or gotten into the wrong hands of our adversaries, our military personnel could have been put in absolutely real jeopardy in that 2 hour window. 13:45, F-18 first strike window starts. Also, strike drones are launched. These are the MQ-9s. At 15:36, if F-18 second strike starts, also first sea-based Tomahawks are launched. These are real-time war operations being shared on an unsecured signal chat. President Trump has to fire Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. This is an inexcusable violation of the public trust and the trust that we hold in our Secretary of Defense. Congress also has a role here. We need to call, and I have called for hearings. We need to hold those hearings in every committee this touches, from my Committee of Armed Services to the Intelligence Committee. And we also need an independent investigation into what happened, who's responsible, and ensure, most importantly, that this never happens again. But I cannot do that. I cannot hold anybody accountable unless my Republican colleagues join me. And so I am calling on them to please join us in calling for these hearings, in calling for an independent investigation, and ensuring that we are keeping our war plans, our intelligence, our military personnel safe and secure. And let me just put a very fine point on it. It is only by the grace of God that this intelligence was not found out by an adversary, that the person they unwittingly admitted into this chat room was a journalist with integrity and a sense of patriotism who did not put these plans or our military personnel at risk. Ultimately, the American people deserve answers, and that's what I'm working on every single day, calling for these hearings, calling for this investigation, and bringing back some degree of faith and trust in our government.